Picture this. You're a farmer living in England. It's early morning. The sun has barely risen. Everything feels normal. Children are playing. The smell of fresh bread fills the air. Life is peaceful. Then, you hear something, not shouting, not horses. A sound you've never heard before. The slow rhythm of dozens of wooden oars slicing through the water. Everyone turns toward the river. Out of the thick morning fog, long black ships begin to appear. 1, then 5, then 10, each one carrying warriors you've never seen before. Tall, bearded, covered in shields, holding axes that catch the morning light. No one knows why they're here. No one knows who they are. But one thing becomes painfully clear. Your world is about to change forever. These men would become known as the Vikings. But here's the question. Were they really the bloodthirsty monsters history remembers, or is there a much bigger story hiding beneath the legend? Let's find out. Chapter 1. Who were the Vikings? If I asked you to describe a Viking, you'd probably say, a giant man, huge beard, horned helmet, swinging an axe while screaming into battle. Right? Well, almost none of that is true. Let's start with the biggest surprise. The Vikings weren't one nation, they weren't one kingdom, and Viking wasn't even an ethnic group. In fact, the word Viking was more like a verb. It described people who left home to travel across the sea for trading, exploring, or raiding. You didn't have to be born a Viking. You became one. Most came from what we now know as Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Cold lands, rocky mountains, deep forests, long winters. Life there wasn't easy. The soil wasn't rich. Food wasn't always guaranteed. If you wanted a better future, you couldn't just wait for one. You had to go find it, and that's exactly what they did. Chapter 2. The sea was their road. Most civilizations built roads. The Vikings built ships, and not just any ships. Their famous longships were centuries ahead of their time, flexible enough to survive violent storms, fast enough to outrun enemies, light enough to carry across land, and shallow enough to travel deep into rivers. Think about how incredible that is. An enemy could believe they were completely safe, hundreds of kilometers away from the ocean, only to wake up and find Viking ships floating outside their village. That's exactly why Europe feared them. They didn't attack where people expected. They attacked where nobody thought they could. That wasn't luck. That was engineering. Chapter 3. Why did they leave home? People often ask, why were Vikings always invading? The answer is actually much more human than you might think. Imagine living somewhere where farmland is scarce, winter lasts for months, and your family is growing every year. Soon, there isn't enough land, there isn't enough food, there isn't enough opportunity. So what do? You look toward the horizon. Some Vikings became traders, some became explorers, some became settlers, and yes, some became raiders. Raiding wasn't their entire identity. It was one of many ways they survived. Chapter 4. They were more than warriors. Here's something Hollywood rarely tells you. The Vikings loved beautiful things. Archaeologists have discovered delicate jewelry, intricate wood carvings, fine metalwork, and surprisingly advanced craftsmanship. Many were farmers who spent more time raising animals than fighting. Others traveled, thousands of kilometers trading fur, amber, iron, honey, and slaves. Their trade routes stretched from North America to Constantinople to the Middle East. In fact, Arabic silver coins have been discovered in Viking graves. Imagine that. A coin minted thousands of kilometers away, traveling across continents, ending up in a small Scandinavian village. The Viking world was far more connected than most people realize. Chapter 5. The biggest myth. Let's talk about the helmets. Because yes, you've probably seen them. Huge horns, massive helmets, looking like angry bulls. The problem? There's no good archaeological evidence that Viking warriors commonly wore horned helmets into battle. So where did the image come from? Ironically, the answer isn't the Viking Age, it's the 1800s. Artists designing costumes for operas wanted Vikings to look dramatic, so they added horns. The audience loved it. The image spread, movies copied it, games copied it. And today, millions of people still imagine Vikings wearing something they probably never wore in combat. Sometimes, history isn't rewritten by kings, it's rewritten by costume designers. Chapter 6. They found America first. Now here's a fact that sounds unbelievable. Nearly 5 centuries before Christopher Columbus crossed the Atlantic, a Viking explorer named Leif Erikson reached North America. Think about that. No engines, no GPS, no weather forecasts, no satellite maps, just stars, wind, experience, and courage. His expedition reached what is now Newfoundland in Canada. Although the settlement didn't last long, it proved something extraordinary. The Vikings had crossed one of the world's greatest oceans centuries before most Europeans even imagined such a journey. Chapter 7. What they believed. The Vikings didn't simply fight for survival. Many believed they were fighting for eternity. According to Norse mythology, warriors who died bravely could enter Valhalla, a legendary hall ruled by Odin, a place where they would feast, train, and prepare for Ragnarok, the final battle at the end of the world. Whether these beliefs reflected every Viking's personal faith is impossible to know, but they played an important role in Norse culture and storytelling. Imagine believing that dying with honor wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Ending. Who were the Vikings? Raiders, yes. Explorers, without a doubt. Farmers, merchants, craftsmen, shipbuilders, storytellers, parents, dreamers. The truth is, they weren't monsters. They were people. People who lived in one of the harshest environments on Earth, and responded by building ships capable of reaching the edge of the known world. Maybe that's why their story still fascinates us. Not because they were fearless, but because they looked at an endless ocean, where everyone else saw danger and saw possibility. Every civilization leaves something behind. The Romans left roads. The Egyptians left pyramids. The Vikings left a reminder that sometimes the greatest discoveries begin the moment you're brave enough to sail beyond the horizon. History isn't just about remembering the past. It's about understanding the people who changed it. This is TSC. I'll see you in the next story.